bus all to ourselves this morning as we ride out of Santa Fe, going to Espanola, then we'll catch another bus to the Ghost Ranch, and then we're back on trail. We decided that the city is not for us. We just had one weird and bad experience after another.
There has just been a series of unfortunate events trying to get to Santa Fe and in Santa Fe. We got kicked off a bus. There was highly inappropriate men. Our hotel was by a homeless shelter, so there was just a lot of homeless people, and some of those homeless people were a little uncomfortable to be around, following you and talking gibberish. I just don't think Alex and I are meant for the big city. That's just not our place. We feel way more comfortable out here. But all of that is just part of the adventure. That's part of what we're out here doing. So you can't complain too much. And we got to meet Jessica. And when we were eating breakfast in Santa Fe, an anonymous person paid for our breakfast, which was over $40. So that was pretty amazing too. So it wasn't all bad, but I'm glad to be back on the trail. It's hot.
It's not that hot.
I smell horrible.
You're just sweaty.
You want to smell me?
Nope. Back on the trail. Now that we left Ghost Ranch, we have about a 14-mile water carry. And we're carrying 90 miles worth of food, so our packs are nice and heavy. But the good news is, after this long water carry, I think the long water carries are just about over. We'll be up in higher elevations, and it'll be a much wetter environment.
Oh.
These scattered thunderstorms seem to be like the new normal now. We've been seeing these almost every day. We've been on trail for the past almost week. I think this is something that we're going to see a lot more of as we get into Colorado. Those mountains are kind of known for having like a daily afternoon thunderstorm, and we may have to kind of adjust our hiking schedule around that. Don't want to be high up on a ridge, totally exposed when there's a whole bunch of lightning. Just one of the new challenges that we're going to have to take on as we get into the mountains. This tree looks like there's a bunch of ghosts or something in it. We just got poured on in a matter of like 30 seconds. It went from a very light sprinkle to just straight downpour. And it was kind of like sleeting. That was kind of intense. We had to set up the tent in that really quick, and everything just got soaked. Next time we'll try and capture it. When I think about mind, body, and soul and how they kind of interplay out here, I see it almost as like a upside down triangle. Body is at the bottom. That's physical. Everything that's kind of concrete and exists in this third dimension. That's like where the rubber meets the road. Built on top of that is mind. A little bit more ethereal, a little more abstract, kind of a bigger realm. And much harder to define in concrete terms. And then on top of that is spirit, or soul. Way more abstract, way more ethereal, and nearly infinite in size, or maybe just impossible to define in terms of size. I think all these things interact with each other, starting with the body in the physical realm. I'm saying this as I'm climbing a steep hill and out of breath. When we're doing hard physical things out here and our body is tired, I think what that does is that it actually opens up more space in the mind. My mind is much less cluttered and I'm much less distracted. And from there, you can really kind of move into that second tier on that triangle, move into the mind, and understand it in a much clearer way. I think part of what happened for the shift with Amy is that she finally accepted this hike and what it means to do a thru hike, including the emotional stuff that comes along with doing a thru hike with your significant other, which is an entirely new layer on top of all of the emotional stress that you experience out here, which I'm fully willing to admit that I played a role in, either being selfish or impatient or something like that. Maybe what broke was her mentality kind of rejecting this whole thing, and since then she kind of just feels more at home, more accepting of everything that happens, both the good and the bad.
You're getting even closer. These cows are crazy.
What do you guys want?
Food?
We don't have dinner for you.
Oh, it's coming closer, man.
I don't think they're afraid of you.
They're coming closer. You can go get them if you want. Go get them.
You guys didn't do much. I think these cows have decided to hike the CDT with us. We've gone like 4 miles since our camp last night and they've been following us the whole time. They're not going to get through this gate. What are you guys going to do then? This is hilarious.
Don't close the gate.
Alright, we'll see you guys later. These pretty little mountain streams are what dreams are made of when we were hiking through the desert. They're so plentiful now, crossing one every half mile. Not that long ago, we were rationing our dirty cow water. I'm not sure what these are called, but I've noticed that these plants are the first things to pop up after the snow melts. So, by looking at how tall they are, you can kind of estimate how long it's been since there was snow here. By looking at these, I'm guessing that there was snow here just 2 or maybe 3 weeks ago. And now it looks like summer already. We made it to an official campground with just a tiny bit of civilization here. There is a privy with a roof, and there are some garbage cans, and there's concrete. And we made it here just as the clouds were starting to get really dark and we started hearing thunder. So we were trying to wait out the rain. Been here probably over an hour and the rain never really came. And at least I'm getting impatient, so I want to go, even though there's still dark clouds on the horizon. It's always a tough choice, deciding if you should wait it out when you have a roof, or just go for it and hope that it doesn't rain too bad.
No, I don't want it.
That looked like submersion. That's that moment when you realize that it's hopeless to keep your feet dry. One thing that makes through hiking different from regular backpacking is that in through hiking we're not just going to these scenic destinations to spend all our time in these incredible natural areas. Of course, those are the highlights, that's what we look forward to, but we hike through everything in between these scenic areas too. And that includes the effect that our human society has on the wilderness. We walk by mines, we walk by clear cuts, we walk by a lot of trash. That's just what's out here. We get to see it all, basically, both the good and the bad. So that kind of gives a through hike a little bit more character, I think, and it's a little bit more realistic about what's actually out here in the wilderness. But I think it kind of helps just to actually see these areas, see what it means to take part in this system. In order to live the life that we are lucky to live, there's a cost. There's going to be a cost on nature. I do want to continue living this life, but by walking through these areas, it kind of helps me appreciate what I have more, and maybe take less for granted, and maybe think twice about consuming things that I don't exactly need.
So we are 8.5 miles from the border of Colorado, and that is basically going to be the end of one chapter and the beginning of another. It's a little bit of time for reflection, I guess. We've all learned a lot. We've learned a lot about ourselves. We've learned a lot about each other. We learned a lot about the dogs. We were pushed past our comfort levels, all of us, and thankfully none of us came to our limits. I think that's important to do in life. Instead of living in your comfortable little bubble day after day, you don't learn, you don't grow. And when you get pushed past your comfort limit, the whole world opens up to you, and there's so many possibilities.
To be perfectly honest, Amy and I haven't really been that impressed with New Mexico. To us, it's been a lot of road walking, a lot of kind of unscenic and not very well maintained trail, and it just hasn't really felt like the kind of wilderness trail that at least I pictured. There was a lot of kind of personal stuff going on between me and Amy and between ourselves. We both came into this hike with a lot of baggage and a lot of mental stress. So I think it's partially our fault that we didn't enjoy New Mexico as much as maybe we could have.
And I also think New Mexico was more about the body. There was a lot of injuries. Alex and I had some pretty good fights. We were even at a fork in the road where if we go one way, we're done. If we go another way, we rebuild our relationship. And we decided to rebuild, so.
For some kind of seemingly magical reason, at those points when we were at our lowest, usually something would happen that would kind of snap us out of it. Somebody would show up with exactly the right words. In the case of Cheshire Cat, or in the case of Andrea in Silver City, just basically giving us a place to live for a week and driving us all over the place. It's that cliche term that a lot of hikers like to say, the trail provides. Seems like when we needed it, something would happen to kind of keep us going. We just had a lot of our own stuff going on, and I think that kind of took us out of the hiking experience. But that's exactly why we came out here. It's exactly what I think the point of doing a thru hike is to take a lot of this baggage and this mental stress, this weight that we carry on our shoulders all the time, take it out into the wilderness, and to take it to a place where there's finally time and space to actually deal with that stuff. But I think we have made it through. We're gonna get to Colorado, and I think that'll be both a very big physical and symbolic milestone for us. Once we cross that state line, that means that we can kind of put all that behind us.
And I think we're gonna start stepping into the mind part of this section. I'm really ready for that. I'm really ready for my mind to be unfogged and uncluttered. I'm ready to start this new chapter. Entering Rio Grande National Forest.
Colorado.
We did it!
Yeah. Not feeling that excited anymore. Alright, 3 more states.
3 more!
Into Chama, we're gonna get a big juicy steak and the dogs are gonna get hamburgers. We've been planning this for like half of New Mexico. Once we finish this day, we are gonna treat ourselves with some really good dinner, and the dogs have earned themselves a reward too. Preparing the fine dish for these dogs. You guys walking across the whole state.
Yeah, man. Ick. It's the tie.
It's the fastest I've seen anyone eat a hamburger.
Good job. You did good. Yeah.
He's like, I can't believe that just happened.
You got a whole hamburger. Yeah.
We don't have plates, so we cut up the dog food bag for our plates. My tiny little steak knife. Just getting the job done. There's a mosquito in it.